in today's webinar, what I'm going to be trying to do is the following. I'm going to look at two parts of my life. One is institutional translation. I do quite a lot of EU translation. I've also done academic translation where there are very, very clear guidelines as to what you have to do. And then I'm going to look at my semi-specialist area of upscale hospitality. But I think what I have to say, I hope what I have to say, is equally applicable to a whole range of semi-specialist areas. And I'm going to look at these in terms of what kind of research we do and what kind of resources we have. As I go along, I'll be looking at ways in which I think I've found it quite useful to set up an appropriate resource bank that I can call on when I need it. And the most important thing, I think, for me is finding out ways to interrogate the knowledge that is online, because there is so much knowledge out there. We've got to know, I think, how to select it, how to evaluate how fit for purpose it is, how reliable it is, and then use this to ground our translation choices. Now, I'm well aware that there are a lot of people, a lot of you out there who are probably much further down the road on this than I am. So maybe when it comes to discussion, you can feed back your experience into this, because in some ways I'm a relative newcomer. I came back in 3 years ago. Okay, so those are the objectives. Outline of the talk, I'm going to look first of all at institutional, particularly EU translation, and compare it with this semi-specialist area. I'm going to look at some model texts, good and bad models, have a look at what originally authored texts can do for hotels which are either at the top of their game or they are aspiring to get there, yeah, versus translated texts of the same. And then I'm going to take us through a few different ways of doing research, identifying problems, trying to track them down, and particularly something I bring from my academic background is the need to triangulate everything, to check the answer you've got to a hunch about something is backed up by other sources, maybe a couple of other sources. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be doing it in terms of tasting notes for wines, champagnes, olive oils. I'll be doing it in terms of menus for top chefs, and I'll also be doing it in terms of training literature for maître d'hôtel in a kind of main hotel. And then finally, I'll be drawing a few conclusions from this, but also asking the question, as I suspect by which time you'll be saying, oh, for goodness sake, she's dancing on the head of a pin and maybe this is not time effective. So I'm going to address that question in my conclusions.